over to the top of the circle. High slot, Wynn. Still working it in that area as she works to the far side again. Wynn, far side. Trying a shot to the center. They score! What a play by Catterall in the low slot. Getting one in off a grade A scoring opportunity off a one-timer. And Sinnott Catterall gets her second goal in 2 games. 2-0 Clarkson. Goodwin gets it through. Goodwin on a breakaway. Moving on in. Short-handed. Pulls. Shoots. Scores! There was a delayed penalty taken on the goal. So it would have likely been a penalty shot. But Goodwin puts it home. And it's a go-ahead short-handed goal for the Knights. It's broken up by Martino. Martino 2-on-2. Sends it across. Richardson a shot. They score! Ryan Richardson, the equalizer, with a backdoor feed going into the far side circle. And that makes it a 3-3 game with 10:50 to go in the second.
Rickwood down below. Pitches it back for Richardson. Richardson back Rickwood. Rickwood down below the goal line. Trying to poke it away on the far corner. Back up top in front. Trevi shot. They score! 3-0 Clarkson. Trey Taylor finally gets one. And I believe Martino is going to be on the assist sheet on that one. Back on the far side. Pitched in front. Sukovic couldn't get a shot off. Sukovic tries to lead for Dom. Dom back for Sukovic. He's held along the boards by Stanley. Sukovic gets free. Barcolt's in front. Shot. Rebound. They score! Going to be Barcolt coming up big when it matters, and the Knights have cut the Cornell lead to 1.
Their way. She gets stick checked on that one. Now taken by Smelly down below. Kerwin gets it in front, and the Knights bury it into score! Caroline Gofrito, the Boston College transfer, comes up big when it matters, and the Knights have a 2-1 lead.
You are listening to Clarkson Golden Knights Hockey on WTSC-FM, Potsdam, New York. Big game today. If you asked me when the season started if the Knights were going to get to this game, my answer for you would have been, I don't know. Or probably a resounding no. It's very rare a team has success with a first-year head coach, and the Knights have had a lot of success this year. But the Cornell Big Red have the Knights' former coach on their bench as the assistant head coach and the head coach in waiting. So it's a very big internal rivalry as well as external rivalry, and why not bring it into the ECAC championship today? Let's set the stage for you. The Knights will skate left to right, right to left if you're watching on TV, as the Golden Knights wearing their home whites. That's gold helmets, green numbers, white uniforms, green and gold trim across the waist, green pants. Cornell attacking right to left, left to right if you are on TV. That is red helmets, red uniforms, white numbers, white trim, and red pants. Taking a look at the net battle today, it is Ethan Langenegger to our left. He has had quite the season this year, coming into tonight with a .914 save percentage this year, as well as a .215 goals against average, 22-9 and 2 this year. On the other side, Ian Shane coming in with 31 games played, 2.21 goals against average, .899 save percentage. Face off at center ice to start it. It's going to be Walsh up against Rickwood. Knights have their first line on, as well as Cornell. This should be a very heavyweight tilt. Puck drop, we're underway, won by Cornell to the far point. Knights try and break it up. Held by Rickwood deep in his own zone. Now on the far side for Taylor. Here comes the Knights offense being led by Ryan Richardson. He's one of the offensive captains for the Knights, so he's the only offensive captain. Both others are defensive captains. Brassington lifts it out for Martino, back out to center, but intercepted by Stanley. Stanley taking it deep in his own defensive zone. He'll circle on back. Takes it down below the goal line. He'll wait. Leaves it for Suda. Suda will try and float that one up and out. Suda back in front of the net. He'll start the rush. Kovic up the near side and over the line. Cuts towards center. Given away. Back up top, Suda. Suda working near point to the far point. Top of the far circle. Shot. Rebound in the slot. Knights clear it away. Very quick chance for the Knights to get that one away, and Cornell is already bottling the Knights up, it seems. Up and out, Sigurdsson goes. All the way down. This one will be too slow for icing, though. Taken in the far corner by Stanley. Stanley ridden off the puck by Mangan. Knights trying to poke check away as a scrum along the boards ensues along the far corner. Looking at the Cornell offense, they're led really by Ryan Walsh, again, the native from Rochester, New York. Sullivan Mack, really big too. That whole first line, the whole top six for Cornell is big. If you're Cornell, if you can run that top six for as long as you can, you'll probably win the game, but don't tire them out, of course. That would be a fatal mistake. Up the far side, Sigurdsson goes. Dom will fire it all the way in, taken down below the goal line by Hank Kemp. He'll rim that one around the boards. Fagaris, Dom gets to it. Kemp, a draft pick of the Avalanche. Now Castagna up the far side. He's a draft pick of the hockey club. Now taken down below by jam play in front. Knights get it. Here they come back the other way. Brassington's pretty much been on since the start. He'll have to float that one in deep, and the Knights will circle back and get into their defensive formations. This is going to be a defensive-minded game for the Golden Knights. Just get a chance if you can, but don't let too many up. Now it's going to be Trey on the far side. He'll fire it all the way in from the red line. Down below the goal line. Stolen away by Ray Fuss. Knights have their fourth line on. This is a real tipping point here. You've got to limit your fourth line's minutes, but you got to at least play them to give your other lines a break that can score. Now taken down below by Fuss. Fuss trying to find that one in front. Taken back up top. Sarsland, a shot blocked in front by Penny. Penny's down now, a slot pass. Goes back in front. O'Donnell on a 1-2 play. Knights couldn't get a good shot off on a backdoor feed. 17:30 to go. First period. Scoreless. Clarkson versus Cornell. Taken down below by Robertson. He'll send that one back out to neutral on the near side. Jack O'Leary. Now Cornell has their fourth line on to respond. Up and out. Richardson goes. Knights have their first line on, at least part of it, and they'll float it all the way down and finish the change. Knights' first line comes on up against Cornell's fourth. Might be if they keep their fourth line on, that really shows how much of a mismatch this Knights' top line can be. Going down on in is Rickwood, in over the line with some space to work with. Trying to get the puck, didn't stay with them. Around the boards, O'Leary will intercept. Jack O'Leary, far side, is now it's going to be Kraft 2-on-2. Back the other way on the far side. Being ridden off the puck by Carter Rose, now taken by Martino. Martino kicks it away. Brassington down below the goal line. On the defensive zone, Knights get it free. Brassington trying to get after the puck. Now on the far corner, trying to get that one free. You can really hear the crowd chanting in here. They got Cornell and you got Clarkson, both of them traveling very well tonight. Taken down below by Walsh. Around the boards, now taking Bancroft on the near point. Bancroft dances away. He'll get his puck stolen away and back into the Knights bench, and that'll mean the Knights cannot change. Or at least they can. I think that was at neutral, so they can change. In that case, they're going to get Trey on, and they're going to go a wholesale change in the break. Knights are designated the home team tonight, which means they get last change. Let's take a look at Clarkson's keys to the game, and it's control early, do a lot with a little, and go get a championship. Knights have exceeded expectations all year. Why not do it again tonight? No shots on goal yet, just tells you how even this game is. There will be a breaking point at some point, though. How long are we going to have to wait for it to happen, though? Almost sold out here. The whole lower bowl is sold out at least. A whole bunch of fans in the upper bowl, almost sold out up top. Walsh is shot off traffic. Rebound and stolen away by Sarsland. That's going to be the first shot on goal of the game. Stanley possesses for Cornell. He'll carry it all the way back. For Cornell, they're going to use the Casey Jones style of quality over quantity. Mack dances on back. He couldn't get it to Kemp. Kemp will race on back to get it. Kemp takes it down below the Cornell goal line. Around the boards now for Bancroft. Bancroft on the far side. Through neutral, trying to get it through traffic. Bancroft pulling, shot that one wide of the far post. Now taken away by Sparks. He'll check a player down off a cross-check. Cornell wanted a call there. There is none. Now the Knights trip a player up. There's no call. We're going with prison rules, I guess, for today's game. Again, they're not going to call it unless it's egregious, it seems. They've already set the standard. They're probably not changing it at this point. Here's Kalen up center ice. He'll cut far side. Fires it in around the boards. Shane will slow it down below the goal line. Gets it stolen away. Backdoor feed. Barkholtz a shot. And Shane makes the save in front. Great play by the Knights. They finally get a shot on goal. 15:20 to go in the first. Teakin on the far corner. Now a centering pass by Cornell. Broken up by the Knights. Back up top. Hoyt Stanley dances around one player. He'll take it far side. Hoyt Stanley misses wide of the far side. Now it goes back up top for Michael Suda. Suda dancing at the point. Leaves it for Castagna, working down low. Castagna carrying around, gets his play back up to Suda at the top of the near circle. Suda circling back, sends it back down low. Now back down below again. Back in front, they score. A goal coming early in the game for Cornell, and this time it is Andrei Janinska getting the goal for Cornell, and Cornell has a 1-0 lead. If you're the Knights, you didn't want to give that one up. It's the second shot on goal of the game and a very early goal for Cornell, and not a good sign so far as Cornell got a backdoor feed in front, and Langenegger had no chance against that one. It was there for way too long, and the Knights just didn't bother to clear. Knights will get their players out. They'll get their first line on in response, and now the Knights need to get one back soon because for Cornell, scoring the first goal is a big key to the game here, and they just did it. Time of the goal coming at the 5:11 mark of the period, and we got a 1-0 game in Cornell's favor. Fagaris on the far side, trying to get it free. Counts down.
Tonight's face-off against the Princeton Tigers, and here to bring it to you is Jeremy DeSalvo, David Murphy, and Natalie Hooper on the call as we send you live to Teal Arena. Live from Teal Arena, it's Clarkson Hockey on WTSC-FM. Tonight, the Clarkson Golden Knights take on the Princeton Tigers, and oh, what a matchup this is as the Princeton Tigers got their season upended by the Knights last year. The Tigers were looking to qualify for the NCAA tournament and did not make it as a result of the Knights' stellar performance against them. The Knights would go on to make the Frozen Four, while Princeton's season was stopped in its tracks. As we welcome you inside the broadcast booth, my name is Jeremy DeSalvo, alongside Natalie Hooper. David Murphy, unfortunately, is out sick tonight. So with that, Natalie, of course, going into this game, big key here is the Knights have not won a game at home in 2025. They look to try and turn that around tonight and try and finally win a game at home. And Natalie, 3 wins in 2025 alone out of all the games the Knights have played, and they're running out of runway.
Yeah, I think the Knights are really looking for a comeback tonight, especially after last weekend. I mean, 2 big upsetting wins for the losses for the Knights. And I think tonight's a must-win game for them.
Yeah, we go back to last weekend, Natalie. It was all 1-goal games, including the overtime winner for Colgate, as that team showed off how much firepower they actually have as a costly turnover in the high slot, beating Gosling over the shoulder, beating Gruber over the shoulder, and what a shot that was. But then you go to Cornell, and it's a shot off the back of Gruber and in. It just seems like the misfortune just keeps going with the Knights. They just can't seem to get lucky, although they've been snake-bitten. I wouldn't say they've been playing bad.
No, I mean, last weekend they played very well, probably the best I've seen them play this year. It came down to hockey is sometimes a game of luck, and the puck was not on their side for those last 2 goals last weekend.
Yeah, and you know, I kind of want to go into some things in particular. Of course, the Knights, most of their losses ever since their first series against Colgate and Cornell, all their losses have been 1-goal losses, which just makes it a lot harder when you're trying, you're getting it close, but you can't win those 1-goal games. And, winning is everything in the ECAC. So tonight, winning, there's a lot more at stake in this game. It keeps the Knights' hopes for getting first-round bye alive. And a big playoff scenario coming into play tonight. If Clarkson wins this game or Union loses at their home rink, it is that would mean the Knights clinch a home playoff game. So that's what they got to play for tonight, Natalie. They got to clinch at least that home opening round game tonight. Otherwise, there's the possibility that if the Knights can't win going down the stretch, Union catches them.
Who's Union playing tonight?
Union is up against Colgate, so there's not a very good chance of them winning, but Colgate might lose to Union because Tony Macy's a smart coach, and he can do a lot with a little, per se. All right, so 15 minutes till puck drop, and Natalie, going into this game, of course, again, it's about winning, and tomorrow's game will likely be the Super Bowl, per se, for the Knights, because that will probably be the one that determines first-round bye.
Yeah, I mean, they're neck and neck with, Quinnipiac?
Yeah.
In the standings right now? Yeah. Pulling the standings up, wherever they are. Yeah, I mean, they're separated by 2.5 points right now, and Quinnipiac's pulled ahead, but that's definitely going to be quite the game. 2 very good teams playing each other.
Yeah, it is 2 very amazing teams for sure. In the Quinnipiac Bobcats, they play St. Lawrence tonight. If St. Lawrence can pull out the win against the Bobcats and the Knights win as well, that could add a little separation, but it won't be enough for them to be comfortable. That's the whole thing, because it'll only be a half a point at that point, and then tomorrow's game still determines that first-round bye. The best-case scenario for the Knights is that happening, of course, but tomorrow's game is important no matter what.
if you look at their records, Clarkson has more wins than Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac just has more. What is that? Ties?
Yeah, they would have more ties, which would be a 1.5 per.
Yeah.
Which they have 3 of them in conference. Again, the half point is really 1 point in essence. The way it works out in the end usually. So
wasn't that what ended up happening with Colgate last year? Is they
it
were
was
like
a half a point ahead.
Yeah.
It really ends up generally working as 1 point. And I wish they just moved to a 2-2-1 system, but I just wish they'd move to a 2-2-1 in general, like what the NHL uses. For women's hockey at least, but hey, no one gives me what I ask for. Anyway, with that, it's time to go over our players to listen to for tonight's broadcast, and we'll start off, Natalie, with the Clarkson Golden Knights.
All right. Our first player to listen for tonight is Senna Catterall, who currently has 13 goals, 15 assists, and 28 points on the season with a +22. Senna Catterall has some of the best individual talent of any player on Clarkson's roster, but she's not afraid to play a more team-oriented game. Her real danger comes on the rush when she can finish an odd man. Because she can finish an odd man rush by herself. She scored on a 2-on-1 last week when she finished herself. There was no backdoor feed. So listen for Catterall on the rush as she scores on nearly every odd man situation that she gets.
Catterall's been one of the best players on the rush for the Knights. She needs to come up big tonight if the Knights are going to want to win.
She's also got to stay out of the box, though. And our second player to listen for is Kira Hurry, who currently has 1 goal, 12 assists, and 13 points with a +10 on the season. Hurry is probably Clarkson's most important defender tonight, as her ability to block shots will be needed against a high-power offense like Princeton's. Her block shots kept the games close last weekend and could win games this weekend. Listen for block shots and clearing attempts from Hurry, and maybe a few shots from up top.
Yeah, Natalie, Kiara Hurry was the reason the Knights led for so much of that Colgate game. Her ability to block shots is what kept danger chances from getting on goal. She needs to block as many as she can tonight, especially against this high-powered Princeton offense.
And our third player to listen for is Haley Wynn, who currently has 12 goals, 25 assists, and 37 total points on the season with a +19. Wynn is the closest that Clarkson has to a sniper. She tends to take shots from up top, which generally make it to their target but get blocked by the goaltender. Tonight, Wynn needs a goal, as Clarkson tends to win when they get one. This is one of Wynn's final games at Cheel, so every game counts. Listen for a great two-way game, including shots and blocks, because she can do it all.
Yeah, Natalie, Wynn is probably the Knights' best player all around. She's a good offensive defender. She gets a lot of shots. She just needs to get one top shelf tonight and try and get the Knights ahead on that. She hasn't gotten a goal in quite some time, so if she gets one tonight, I think Princeton won't stand a chance.
Yeah, she's a very good player. Definitely a cornerstone for this Knights team.
Believe Wynn's last goal came against Yale, so you got to be looking for another one.
When was that?
That was back a couple weeks back. It was mid-January. It's been almost a month. And, sometimes it comes from playing good teams. You have to play more defense when you're playing a good team, and that sometimes results in less goals. But she's still generating assists, so that's important, of course. All right, well, let's go over our players to listen to on the Princeton side, and I'll get that real quick. And our first one to listen for on the Princeton side of things, it's going to be Mackenzie Alexander. 12 goals, 26 assists, 38 points, +6. She's a Rookie of the Year candidate in the ECAC and has been amazing at generating assists for Princeton. She put herself out there as a leading candidate for Rookie of the Year, and she will be great for Princeton in the future. She's only a freshman, so she has a lot of time to develop, Natalie.
Yeah, and sometimes those are the scariest players because they've got a lot going for them, and they know it.
Yeah, she's going to be a star. This Princeton team is well known for generating a lot of good chances. Sarah Paul will be our next one. 24 goals, 7 assists, 31 points, +11. She's a goal scorer. She's not an assist generator. She's a goal scorer. And she's one of the most dangerous players for Princeton. Her goal-scoring abilities are unmatched on the ice tonight. Can she find the back of the net is the question. When she finds the back of the net, it's usually in groups of 2 or 3 goals. So if she scores tonight, watch out.
That would not be a good sign for our Golden Knights, would it?
It would not be a really good sign for the Golden Knights for sure. Angelina DiGirolamo is our next key player. 6 goals, 12 assists, 18 points, -4. Freshman that has also stood out this year on this Dartmouth team as a teammate of Greta Brzezinski. DiGirolamo
of course, is one of the biggest players tonight. She needs to generate chances to get Princeton to the promised land. This means at least 2 points. Listen for her to try and get feeds in the corners and try and feed goal scorers, but also to try and get on the backdoor feed. She's on a line with her twin sister, Lucia DiGirolamo. Mia Cohen also joins her there, and all those players are from the same program, so a very similar playing style likely to come from all of them.